I was just in Israel recently, and it is remarkable to see the different culture of venture capital and risk-taking, including in their agricultural sector. This is a country of only 7 million people, but it has a pool of $16 billion in venture capital. And they invest in and support their risk takers. Even those who get out there and have a go and fail, they're more than happy to get in behind them for their further attempts as people that obviously are prepared to have the courage to take those risks. And it pays off. For every dollar invested in research and development over a 5-year period, you'll see, say $5 returned over a 10-year period, say $25 returned. It proves to be an effective way of improving your business, and looking at what they're doing in agriculture in Israel has a lot of important carryover lessons for us here in this country and the challenges that we face. So research and development is critical, and I would like to see how we can encourage more private investment in that respect. And one aspect of this that's very important, and it overlaps with our climate change challenge and the agricultural sector, is the issue of biofuels. And I have responsibility for that within the Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry's portfolio, and I'm very happy about that because there are a number of reasons why we need to tackle this. And it's not just climate change. Transport fuel use is about 17% of our carbon emissions. And on top of that, though, we face a major strategic vulnerability through oil. We're seeing now the ructions in the Middle East and what that does to oil prices, but notwithstanding that, there's only one way that oil prices will go as the supplies of oil dwindle. We have already reached peak oil. We had a lot of discussion over this, an argument, but we've already reached that status in our country. We're 80% self-sufficient in oil production right now, but within 15 to 20 years or so, that will completely flip over and we'll be 80% dependent on overseas supplies, depending on discoveries of any new sources. But that will only go one direction ultimately, which means, of course, that we'll add about $20 billion to our balance of payment equation as it stands now, but also where we'll be at the mercy of groups like OPEC, who have been not afraid in the past to use oil as a political weapon. But in addition to that, when I was in defence and I had the Middle East desk, I did track large sums of money that were coming from unhealthy sources in the Middle East, oil wealth in essence, that was funding radical madrasas and terrorist movements and whatnot in our region. So from a number of different perspectives, tackling this issue is critically important. And there are some exciting things going on out there in the biofuels area. But one thing we have to be aware of course, is that we don't wish to challenge food security in doing that. So the government's priority is not to invest in or research biofuel options that would challenge food security in arable land. My personal interest is in the algal fuel potential, because you can use non-arable land and saline water for achieving the harvests that we need to replace oil in our transport sector. And when I was in Israel, it was very exciting to visit a project at Ashkelon, which is a large scale power generation facility on the same scale as we have here in Australia, something like 1,200 megawatts. And what they were doing was actually harvesting the carbon emissions from that power plant to flue into an algal pond, which greatly accelerated the growth of the algae. And they were then producing biodiesel from this, and this biodiesel product can go straight into a standard diesel engine with no blending or conversion or modification. So this has huge potential to help us abate our coal-fired power emissions, as well as producing a good source of low emission fuels. CSIRO, I think Tom Berry was estimated that we could actually replace our entire transport fuel needs by the equivalent of a 100 kilometre by 100 kilometre algal pond. Now clearly you wouldn't have one of those, but if you had a distributed network of those, we would be in a good position to achieve that. So I think we'll probably see a mix of solutions down the track, but we need to take this very seriously for the point of view of the economic and security future of the country. But it also offers great opportunities for jobs and diversified economies in the rural and regional sector. I've certainly had a lot of interest in companies coming into my own electorate to set up algal pond biodiesel facilities without being attached to the power stations. But there is some of this work going on in this country, and we are certainly investing $20 million into biofuel research, and we're doing a lot of policy work on how to set up the right frameworks to encourage this research and the marketability. The key now is to move to the industrial level of application of this. The technology and the techniques are there, but commercialising and industrialising this will be the next step. I'd like to just also briefly talk about the other key love of my portfolio, which is fisheries. Fisheries is a real challenge. We know that it's not possible to expand the industry in the wild catch sector. That has a natural limit to it, and everyone, I think, accepts and understands that. But we have a very good industry in this country that is world's best practice in many ways. We have certainly halved the rates of overfishing classifications in the industry to below 12% now, and you know, it's going well. But as I say, there is a limit to it, and seafood is an important source of healthy protein, and for a protein-hungry world, the potential is there for us to develop a significant aquaculture industry beyond what we already have. Altogether now, seafood and aquaculture contributes about $2 billion to the economy, employs about 16,000 people, but we can get a lot more out of this. We have massive untapped potential in this country in aquaculture, and it's great to see the work that the FRDC is doing in this respect, but we also need to, I think, increasingly look to encourage investment, private investment in that area, and facilitate research. There's some exciting research going on. Recently visited the Clean Seas facility in South Australia, where they're looking to try and crack the nut on southern bluefin tuna aquaculture. That obviously has massive valuable potential if they can close the loop there. So aquaculture is going to be massively important for the future of the world, future of this country, a potential industry there of multiple billions of dollars. We also understand, of course, there's a challenge in terms of workforce in the agriculture sector. It was wonderful to see the kids at the Haywire gathering the other day that we were both at, and some wonderful kids out there that are starting to see the exciting potential of new technologies and techniques, and having open minds about employing that. And that's what we really need now, is to think outside the box. I know in my own area, my own family, you know, traditional farming sometimes holds you back. You know, if this is the way Dad and Granddad did it, you know, you're a bit slow sometimes to pick things up. But in other newer farming areas like the Carnarvon Basin, we're seeing a rapid pickup of new technology. We must accelerate that. We must take advantage of these wet times to allow us to invest in these on and off farm infrastructure changes and new technologies. And you see companies like Netafim, Israeli irrigation company, with great technologies in drip and subsurface irrigation that haven't really been picked up as much as they should have been in this country. Recently visited an almond farm in South Australia. You know, permanent plantings like that, lower end of the Murray, obviously ideal for drip and subsurface irrigation. Why the hell, you know, isn't it being picked up? And when I talked to them about it, you know, there was all sorts of scepticism. You know, the lines would get blocked, you know, wouldn't work, etc. But it does work, and we need it, and we have to start networking our farmers effectively. They need to start talking to each other about these things, because farmers talking to farmers is the best way to get these things picked up. And so I'm hoping, for example, that with the rollout of the National Broadband Network and reinvigorating the land care structure, we can improve the networking amongst our farming community to really accelerate the pickup of these things. So it's a challenging future for us out there, but an exciting one as well. I'm really proud and pleased on behalf of my own region and behalf of farmers to be out there trying to improve that situation for them. Obviously the risk management thing needs a lot of policy work as well, and how we manage the risks of that we've seen developing in crops. A lot of people forward selling crops, etc., and as well as losing them. We have to work out, I think, a better way to even out that risk. So we'll keep working on that, and I very much look forward to seeing the product of your thinking. It is so critical to have your minds working together on these subjects. It is important for not only the country and the world. But could I just finish by saying one thing? We've seen this discussion during this week in relation to our carbon initiative, our climate change policy, And everybody should be absolutely clear about this, that this government and every member of that caucus are absolutely determined to fight this battle. There is complete steel in every spine in that caucus to take this on and to make it work and to do it this term. The time for stuffing around on this is over. People need to work with us to make it a good system. The offer was there for us to have a multi-party approach to this. There is no choice but to get it done, and we are absolutely determined to do it. For the sake of this country and the future of this planet, it has to be done. So we need to work together. Constructive criticism is fine, but it is not an option to put this off anymore, and we will not put it off anymore. Thank you very much.
Dr. Mike Kelly, thank you very much. Dr. Kelly has got to go off to another appointment, so we can't field any questions, but certainly a steely resolve there at the end of the Parliamentary Secretary's speech this morning, and leaving us, I think, in no doubt about the direction the government is determined to take. A very interesting session. Now, the next one in this room in 15 minutes' time is, of course, on that very subject, climate change. And Professor Ross Garneau and a range of other distinguished speakers involved with that. That gets underway in 15 minutes. Good morning and enjoy the rest of the day at ABARE.